Ah, Activision Blizzard. A sinking ship of a publisher that just can't seem to take a hint has released a great number of games over the years. But with things looking a bit uncertain for their future, I figured it would be fun and a bit pessimistic to think about what would happen should the publisher falter completely. The publisher and their various subsidiaries have produced plenty of great games over the years, including games within Crash Bandicoot, Call of Duty, Warcraft, and Diablo franchises. But what if this whole thing blows up in their face like an intern who doesn't like how handsy Bobby Kotick is, and they have to sell all their franchises to other developers? Well, that's what this video is all about. I've chosen a handful of Activision Blizzard's more recognizable franchises, and have paired them up with a few different developers that I feel could properly handle this property. And honestly, that's it. Now, keep in mind, all of these choices are made assuming that Activision Blizzard has to shut down every studio currently working on these games or franchises instead of them individually retaining the rights to the games should something happen to Activision Blizzard that requires them to lose the rights to all of their games. I would personally be fine with studios like Treyarch, Toys for Bob, or Raven Software sticking around to continue working on their respective franchises. So consider this more of a scorched earth, get rid of them all sort of approach to redistributing these properties. Sound good? Well, I'll just go down the line in alphabetical order and talk about franchises that are owned by Activision Blizzard and what studios I think should take said franchise off their grubby, misogynist, can't be kept to themselves hands.
I bet you really gotta watch where you step in a game called Heroes Duty.
One of the most well-known franchises in gaming, finding a good studio to take over Call of Duty could be a daunting task. So what we need here is a studio known for crafting enthralling, epic first-person shooters that emphasize action and set-piece moments, and there are only two studios who come to mind with that description. The first is probably the most obvious, that being EA and DICE, the developers of Star Wars Battlefront, and more important to this discussion, the Battlefield series. Considering the rivalry between the two franchises over the years, it just makes sense, and it could allow the Call of Duty series to expand and grow into large-scale war zones that aren't just ripping off of Fortnite. The problem here is that I think DICE have enough on their plate nowadays, especially when you consider how bad Battlefield 2042's launch was. So let's take a look at option 2. Respawn Entertainment. Respawn takes its name to heart, being founded by Infinity Ward co-founders Vince Zampella and Jason West after EA decided they didn't want to give them more money for making some of their most profitable games. So they left, took some of their Call of Duty peeps out of Activision's grip, and formed Respawn Entertainment, later going on to make Titanfall 1 and 2, Apex Legends, Star Wars Dark Souls, and a Medal of Honor VR title that no one's heard about. To me, Respawn makes the most sense to give Call of Duty to, for the simple fact that it was founded by people who made some of the best Call of Duty games. Respawn have clearly tried to distance themselves from their past with the titles they've made over the years, but I feel that they could be the studio to take a look at a franchise that has gotten stagnant over the years and inject it with some new, much-needed life. EA and DICE would be my next choice, and I briefly even thought about suggesting id Software, but they're more content with making their beautiful murder porn called the Doom franchise, so we'll leave it with just the first two.
Enhanced strength, enhanced stamina.
Enhanced taco consumption?
How is that a superpower, mate?
While Call of Duty might be Activision's bread and butter, they are also in possession of a pair of platform mascot icons from the late 90s to early 2000s, and I am extremely upset by this. I'm of course referring to Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, and I want to see them ripped from the clutches of Bobby Kotick's grubby little hands and given back to the people who made them who they are today. Sony. Both franchises got their start and arguable best titles on the original PlayStation, and I would love to see them return to the folks who made them so successful in the first place. But I think just giving them to Naughty Dog or Insomniac isn't really the way to go here. Sure, both studios are owned by Sony, and would likely make some impressive games with them considering they're the ones that started both series, but both companies have shifted priorities drastically over the years. So maybe another Sony-owned studio could take the helm, one known for revitalizing old favorites. Enter Bluepoint, the folks behind the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection and Shadow of the Colossus remakes on PlayStation 4, and the most recent Demon's Souls remake on PlayStation 5. Despite having a history of making ports and remasters, Bluepoint has showcased a love for whatever game they've remade that's unmatched by other studios dedicated to making ports and remakes. And I think giving them the helm on new titles for these beloved franchises would be a safe bet, especially when you consider that they were originally planning on making a new title before Sony bought them. Now, some of y'all y'all might not be a fan of me suggesting Crash and Spyro become first-party titles again since they've been multi-platform for much longer, but I associate them with PlayStation, and this is my choice, so you can deal with it. Though considering the stellar job that Toys for Bob has done with both franchises already, I would be more than happy with them just continuing on and letting them be multi-platform. But this is again a hypothetical scorched earth situation, so we must abide by my needless limitations.
Doesn't Diablo mean devil? Yeah, man.
So I have a bit of a confession to make. I don't really like playing Diablo.
Don't worry about him, SpongeBob.
When I was younger, I enjoyed playing Diablo 2 on PC, and I've enjoyed some games that use a similar setup like Minecraft Dungeons. But Diablo itself never really spoke to me personally. So, how about we give Diablo to one of two studios who have made Diablo-like games that I did enjoy? The first one is Obsidian Entertainment, the fine folks behind Knights of the Old Republic 2, South Park: The Stick of Truth, and Fallout New Vegas, just proving to me that they have the chops to make some of the best games based on previously established properties. And if that's not enough, they've also created their own isometric RPG series with Pillars of Eternity, a series that I have played and enjoyed much more than Diablo. So there you go. But Obsidian is owned by Microsoft now, so to avoid another single company owning a franchise thing because some of y'all just love needless controversy, what if Diablo instead went to Larian Studios? The studio behind the Divinity series of games. They're probably most well known for Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, two games that I consider to be far superior to Diablo that I don't have enough time to talk about, let alone play. If you're a fan of Diablo, please go and play these games. And then imagine what a Diablo game would be like with them in control. Like I said, Diablo isn't really a big franchise for me, so I more or less just chose studios I thought would make me enjoy it, while also finding ones that would be a potentially good fit. I'm not a huge fan of the isometric RPG genre personally, so if you can think of any studios that would be a good fit, let me know in the comments. I might even read them. This one's going to be quick, simply because I don't think anyone really expects this series to come back anytime soon, and I can only think of one studio to take it over, so there you go. Simply put, I think Guitar Hero should go to Harmonix, the studio who has not only consistently delivered high-tier rhythm games that love to experiment over the years, but are the studio who originally made Guitar Hero in the first place. I don't know if Harmonix would want to take this one back though, since they've moved away from peripheral-based rhythm games a long time ago. But I also don't think any of the other big rhythm game studios like Beat Games or Ubisoft would really want to take it over either, so for the purposes of this list, Harmonix it is. Otherwise, give it to whoever made Donkey Konga back on the GameCube. Give me a Bongo Hero. That'd be neat.
I'd say he knows a little more about fighting than you do, pal, because he invented it.
Oh look, another game genre I have minimal personal experience with. Well, at least recent experience. I used to play a lot of Warcraft 3, so I know at least a little bit of how RTS games works, and I know of two developers who could take the reins of either StarCraft or Warcraft, or both, and make some magic with them. First up is Ensemble Studios, the folks behind the Age of Empires games for over 20 years. They actually made my personal favorite RTS game, Age of Empires 2, and they could certainly do a better job at crafting new Warcraft titles, or even just upgrading them, than Blizzard did. The problem here is that Ensemble is no more. Which is why Age of Empires 4 was developed by my second pick, Relic Entertainment. Relic has been developing well-crafted RTS games for over 20 years now, having developed the aforementioned Age of Empires 4, but also the Homeworld series, the Company of Heroes series, and the Warhammer Dawn of War series. These folks are some of the best in the business at what they do, and what they do is make games where you can take hundreds of millions of polygons on screen and make them slap each other around in a variety of war zones, just like everyone wants from them. Aside from maybe Call of Duty, I think choosing a studio to take over Warcraft, and more importantly StarCraft, would be a daunting task in itself. Thankfully, there are a few stellar options for RTS studios, but I can't think of anyone better to take over these two properties than Relic. I mean, they already make games about big burly soldier guys with absurd guns fighting hordes of aliens, so match made in heaven.
I found this gladiator training arena that also makes for a pretty cool skate park.
Tony Hawk is one of the few sports series I've enjoyed playing since I was young, though these days I don't really play it as often. I still like coming back to them on occasion, but recent releases haven't been the best, so I've fallen out of favor with the Hawk. There is at least one series inspired by the Hawk that I've enjoyed, however, and I think you may already know that I'm referring to EA's Skate series here. They managed to take everything Tony Hawk did and make a more immersive experience, making it so you actually feel like an up-and-coming skater as opposed to the Tony Hawk style over substance approach. But EA gets enough money, and I already sort of suggested them for Call of Duty, so let's talk about an oddball choice that I would much rather see support go towards. Psyonix. That's right, the folks who decided to have a rocket-propelled RC cars play C4 soccer, Psyonix became a Twitch household name overnight thanks to Rocket League. And I feel that they could absolutely dominate in making a Tony Hawk game, especially if they decide to lean more into that strange and over-the-top style that the game was known for during its heyday. Is it a stretch? Yeah, but it's one that I would love to see become a reality. I feel like the folks who decided to make RC cars play soccer have some weird ideas, and translating those ideas into a skateboarding game could create some fantastic things. Certainly more than anything Robomoto did anyways.
I'm logged on to an MMORPG with people from all over the world and getting XP with my party using TeamSpeak.
And here we are. The big one. The one game out of this whole selection, besides maybe Spyro, that I have played far too much of over the years. And honestly, this is the one that I have the least to say about. World of Warcraft is one of those games that I feel doesn't really need more extensive content dumps, so it really doesn't need a new developer. Maybe drop a few new dungeons, add a new class or race every now and then, and that's about it. Just let this game slowly die. But I suppose this is a list all about who should take over each property, so I guess I'll choose one for this as well. I don't know, how about Jagex? You know, the folks behind RuneScape? For over 20 years, they've given players new content and more utilizing a free-to-play model, and I feel like if they were given the resources and structure of a World of Warcraft-sized game, they could easily make the game coast to a satisfying end. And hey, if nothing else, I'd love to see Mithril armor make it into World of Warcraft and not have it look like every other shirt in the game. Make that shit distinct, yo. Anyways, that's about gonna do it for this one. I obviously didn't talk about everything that Activision owns, but it was hard to come up with studios for some of them, so I left it where it is. And again, this is all assuming that we're talking about Activision Blizzard somehow having to sell off their properties to either stay afloat or because they're shut down, which isn't good for anyone in the business. If nothing else, this is a very pessimistic thought exercise that I would love to see discussed more in the comments below. So with that in mind, what Activision Blizzard franchise would you want to see go to which developer? Let me know in the comments down below. Do all that other fun YouTubey stuff down there while you're down there. Be sure to follow me on Twitter if you haven't already, where I post the occasional poll for videos and silly stuff like this. And I will see all of you in the next video. Take care.